tree. I'm just sitting here, I got time, it's clear to see. From up here, the world seems small. We can sit together, it's so beautiful, you and me. We meant to be in the great outdoors, forever free. Take a step back to see the truth around you. From a distance you can tell. You and me were meant to be outdoors,
Greetings, Glitter Gang. Happy Thursday. It's 9 o'clock on Thursday, June 10th. You're here for Kathryn Scraps Live. I'm Kathryn, and today I'm going to be scrapping live the box set album Remastered Volume 2. And we are now on page 3. And page 3 is going to have construction and planning and all that good stuff, because this afternoon we completely finished page 2, construction, matting, inserts, all of that. So we're ready to move on to page 3. So that's primarily what we're going to be working on tonight. I'm sure is going to be the planning for page 3 and the construction for page 3, and then maybe a little bit of matting depending on how much time we have. But, you know, hopefully we'll have enough time to get the construction all done. So, good evening, everyone. Happy Thursday. Good evening to Bev and Catherine. Sandra says, hola, happy hour. I mean, happy glitter. It can be happy hour too. If you want Thursday night to be happy hour, then Thursday night can be happy hour. Yeah, we're going to do construction for 2 pages tonight. So what we're going to do is, and we're going to, I think we're going to, we're not going to, like glue them down or anything, because it's easier to mat them when they're not glued down. But we are going to, since we already did the construction for the last page of the book when we did the first page, and for the second to last page of the book when we did the second page. So now we're in the middle with the 2 middle pages, and so we're going to do both of them at the same time as well. So this will be the last night of construction for the pages of volume 2. So construction will be done as of tonight. So it is happy hour, absolutely. Maybe I should just start drinking on the evening show. I wonder what effect that would have on crafting, if it would be an enhancement or a detraction. Good evening to Carol Joan and to Mary, who says that she's looking forward to our page E's. Yes, I think this will be the first time we've done page E in any of the volumes, so we'll be using those, having fun with those. Let's see what else. Candy says good evening. Pat says hi, Catherine and everyone. Donna says hello again. Kimberly says good evening to all. Ella says hello to all. Sandra says it is happy hour, and then she posted 7 glasses of wine. So it's a very happy hour for Sandra. Extremely happy. Deliriously happy. Beverly had soft tacos tonight. I had a chicken sandwich, and I had a chicken salad for lunch. So today's been a very chickeny day. I'm trying to learn how to make bread. And yesterday I had like a disaster bread. Like, it cannot be overstated how bad the bread turned out, like for real. So let me just show you a picture of the bread, and then I'll tell you what I think went wrong. And then if you know how to bread, you can tell me if I'm correct about what went wrong. So let me find my bread. Well, I got a bread machine as a gift, and I want to say like Christmas, but maybe not the Christmas that just happened, but like the Christmas before the Christmas that just happened. So like 2019, possibly 2018. So I was gifted a very nice bread machine. It's by the same company that makes my rice cooker, Zojirushi, which I really, really love my rice cooker. By the way, I've had my rice cooker for 17 years, and it still works perfectly. So if you've ever looked at Zojirushi's rice cookers and thought that seems like a lot of money for a rice cooker, they are kind of on the pricier end. That was a wedding gift. The rice cooker was a wedding gift. So we've had it for like forever. Yeah, crazy. Okay, let me find my bread so you can see my bread. So anyway, look, I just want you to know that I know that this bread This is so embarrassing because this is a bread maker. So it's just like, this is how my bread looks in a bread maker. A machine literally designed to bread. Okay? So that's what came out of the bread maker. Oh my God. What is this? Well, we've been married 15 years and I think the rice cooker is like 16 years old. Like we got it before the wedding. So, look, I mean, guys, my Mr. Lifeguard just said to tell people it's a croissant. So here's what I know for sure was a problem. One, and I don't know if this is like a bread maker thing. Those of you who have bread makers, maybe you can let me know. But I didn't have dry milk powder because I didn't know you needed dry milk powder to make bread in a bread machine. And I don't know if this is like a Japanese thing because I know like they have a milk, like there's a really popular Japanese bread that's like a milk bread. So I don't know if it's because I was just using the bread recipe that came with the machine, okay? Like just what the machine said. So I needed dry milk powder, which I didn't have. And then the other thing is I needed rapid rise yeast and I only had active dry yeast. And I was like, well, maybe it'll work. No, I don't. Incorrect. So, yeah. So the yeast was the wrong kind of yeast. Like I'm sure the yeast was alive. I'm sure the yeast was alive. I think it just didn't have enough fermentation time because the recipe called for a rapid rise yeast and then I only had active dry yeast. Now I noticed later when I was flipping through the book that there were some recipes that called for active dry yeast like on different modes or whatever, so I probably could have figured it out if I'd like read the entire cookbook, but I was literally just trying to make like the basic loaf, you know? So yeah, instead I made a croissant. Now it tasted and smelled pretty fine, like it was the texture that was like, you know. So I think it was just the yeast. So now I have acquired rapid rise yeast, and milk powder. At least we think it's milk powder because we're like 90% sure it's milk powder, but it was in the international food aisle, so it could be something else. But I'm like 90%, 95. I'm very, very confident that it's milk powder. Probably it's probably milk powder. So we have milk powder in there. We have the rapid rise yeast. It's going right now. So before I sign off, I'll go check it and see if it's done, and then we can see if it's if I was successful on bread attempt 2. Nellie Freya's hello, good evening. Yeah, so it didn't rise. My yeast was fresh, but it was the wrong kind of yeast completely. So I think it didn't have enough time to do anything. And then if this doesn't work, I'm going to give someone a gently used fancy bread maker, and I'm just going to use that no knead overnight bread recipe and use that. Because like I like to buy bread from the bakery when possible so it doesn't have like tons of syrup in it, and then like it's just normal bread. It doesn't have syrup, it doesn't have a bunch of preservatives, it doesn't taste sweet, you know, it doesn't have like that weird texture, but you know, it only lasts for so long, and I don't want to be going to the bakery twice a week or whatever just so I can have toast. I guess I could buy 2 loaves and freeze one. That could solve my problem. But I was like, maybe I'll just learn to make bread. I'll just become a baker. I have a bread maker. So like I was like, you know, and there's like a recipe for the bread maker to make a pizza dough, which is something else I failed at in the past. And it would be nice if I could make a fresh pizza dough. So, you know, I don't know. I'm trying. Yeah, bread that's been frozen doesn't taste as good. I agree. So I'm going to try, we'll see if I can become a bread maker, but it's, so far we are batting a 0 with the bread. But if the bread's successful tonight, then I'm batting 500, which would make me the greatest batter in the history of all time. So okay, so Mary says we always made our own bread. Then we got a bread maker and it lasted 2 months and we got rid of it. And so he makes, the husband makes bread every 2 weeks the old fashioned way. Gretchen said, I thought it would be easy to make bread with a machine. Yeah, so everyone agrees that it was the yeast. Yeah, I think that's what it had to be. Like, I can't think of anything else that would have gone that seriously wrong, but it just didn't have its chemical reaction. You know, so it didn't bread. It just didn't, it never breaded. It never became bread. It didn't have time to become bread. Mary says, those darn directions, I hate when you have to read them and follow them. I know. It's really bad. At least I have a scale, so it's pretty quick to put it together, because the way the instructions are in this particular bread machine book, it just says, like, add this many grams of these things to the pan in this order. You don't stir it or anything, and then you put it in the bread maker, and then you're done. So it's really easy to do, because I just put the pan on the scale, and I just add, and it's very quick. You know, so far it has not resulted in bread. So second attempt coming soon. I'm gonna, before I sign off tonight, I will run downstairs and see if it's done, and if it's done, I'll bring it upstairs so we can all see it, because if it's a disaster, you might as well laugh with me, and if it's not, we can celebrate. So all right, so let's see. Bev says, love fresh baked bread and rolls. I do too. And there is a sourdough starter on the bread machine, like, modes. Well, one of its modes is a sourdough starter, and there is instructions in its little bread recipe book that comes with it on how to do that. Also, how to use it to, like, make your own jams and jellies, which I thought was really kind of interesting. I probably won't do that, but it's in there. And then also, this is like their rice maker. Their rice maker also makes, like, porridge, and you can make yogurt in it. You can do other stuff in it than just make rice. I only use it to make rice. So the bread maker, I'm sure I'll only use to make bread. But theoretically, I can make other things. And there's a crescent roll dough recipe and mode, and a pizza dough recipe and mode. And there's three different ways you can pizza dough. So you can do, like, a margarita, or a thin crust, or a normal crust. So, let's see. Barbara Jean is offering to be my sous chef bread maker. I mean, I should probably be the sous chef, and you should just make the bread. That's what, I mean, based on how things are going, I would say I should not be in charge of anything bread related. And Bev says just buy frozen bread and then bake it. Yeah, back when we had a Costco membership, which we don't anymore, I let it expire. They had those, like, French bread doughs that you could buy, and you had to let them rise, so you couldn't, like, spontaneously do them, but you had to let them rise, and then you put them in the oven, and then it was like fresh baked bread. Candy says she started a sourdough starter as a pandemic project, and it's actually pretty good. Gretchen says she loves sourdough, but she doesn't want to learn how to make it. Yeah, now you can see that the nails are matte, right? So, but I don't know if you can see, like, it's a little shiny on the tips. That's because the matte coat is, and I don't know if you can see it on the edge a little bit, but it's peeling already. The matte coat is peeling. So I think maybe I can't put a matte coat over a glossy coat. I, like, have to do the matte, like, I have to just decide the nails are going to be matte and just do matte from the get-go. But so we'll see. Ella says sourdough is great. I get one from Sprouts that only has 3 ingredients: flour, water, and salt. It's Izio sourdough. Keep it in the fridge, lasts a long time. Yeah, we've been getting our bread from Sprouts when we are not getting bakery bread. We get bread from Sprouts. They have some decent breads that don't have too many ingredients. I just don't like bread that tastes sweet. I would rather have bread taste salty. That for me, I would prefer a salty bread to a sweet bread, and a lot of bread tastes very sweet, in my opinion. So, all right, now everyone wants fresh bread. Well, of course everyone wants fresh bread. So, even my sister wanted fresh bread, but I was like, it takes like many hours to bread. So like after I had the bread maker going for like 20 minutes, she wanted to know when it was going to be done. And I was like, after you go to bed, once you have slept, then there will be bread. Possibly. No guarantees there will be bread. All right. So now, how to do the pages. So let me go get them in the Album Basics guide. It does smell like bread baking in the machine. Yes. It does give, the bread machine did give the like bread is happening smell. So you did get the nice homey bread making vibes. Even when it's just doing its like, I guess it's kneading it when it's like, it has these paddles and it bats the ball back, the ball of dough back and forth. Even when it's doing that, you can smell like a kind of yeasty, bready, like fermenty smell happening. So even before it's baking, you can start smelling bread happening. Okay. So you do get that part of the experience, but I'm not going to tell you to go out and buy this bread maker yet because honestly, I don't know if it breads. Will it bread? And to be fair to the thing, I did not follow the instructions or the recipe or whatever. So it's not like what happened is fair, I guess I'll say. Like that's not a fair, oh my goodness, of its skills, like a fair test of its skills. Well, that totally happened, Bev, because it had been smelling like bread all day, and then it beeped that it was done and going into its keep warm cycle, and I went over and was like, oh, that's not bread. You have not become bread. And then Damien was the first person to see it, like in person. And so he had just gotten home from work and he was in the kitchen like looking for a snack or whatever. And he walked past it and he said, did you make, and then really long pause, bread? I was like he wasn't even sure if it was bread. Like it smelled like bread, but it didn't look like bread. Oh, Page Style E. Oh my gosh, thank you for being so nice, Page Style E. Page Style E is just this. It's just the 3. 1, 2, 3. They're all the same size. Yeah, cool. Cool. All right. Page Style E is easy. So there's 3 of them. So should we just do? We'll just do 1 of each, right? In which case we would do 2 of each. Do you want to do 1 of each, or do you want to do whatever? We'll do 1 of each. Well, there's 4 of them now. Well, we'll do 1 each of the original 3. Okay, so we won't do, we'll do 1A, 1B, and 1C. All right. Okay, so I'm using cut number 1, 2, 3, 4. Cut number 4. So cut number 4 under each of them. So I'm going to do 2 A's of cut number 4, 2 B's of cut number 4, and 2 C's of cut number 4, and the only one I'm not going to do is D as in dog. All right, so I'm going to take my tablet and a stack of cardstock over to the big trimmer, and I'm going to cut everything for both pages, and then we'll come back and, well, I mean, I won't be like gone. You know, I'll still be talking to you. But yeah, I thought that was so funny. Did you make bread? Question mark? What is this monstrosity? What did you make? Yeah, it does suck when baking doesn't turn out, for sure. Okay, so those are the A's. So now, and that was on page 14, cut 4. So now I'm going to go to page 17, still cut 4, and cut those. So cutting, and remember you have to multiply everything by 2 because we're doing 2 pages. So if it says you need 1 of this, you need 2 of it. If it says you need 2 of it, you need 4 of it, and so on and so on. All right, there's that. And we're still on version 15 of the manual. But if you have version 14 downloaded, the difference between 14 and 15 is cosmetic. So you don't need to re-download it. If you have 14 downloaded, you can just use 14. Like none of the page numbers or measurements change. It's just cosmetic changes, some headers, changes to some headers. It's not a big deal. And then now, so those are all the pieces for B. And so now I'm going on to C, which is on page 20, still on cut 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh my, there's quite a few of these. Okay. So that's the first 2 cuts. Then one more cut. Alrighty, so I've got all my pieces cut now, and that's for both my pages, because I have 2 of these page E's. So I'm going to work on them one at a time. I'm going to do A, then B, then C. By one at a time, I mean 1 letter at a time. I know, we are so efficient. Crazy. All right, so here's going to be A. Got to get my tablet so I know where my scores are, because that's part of the guide as well. So we're going back to page 15, I think. 14. Page 14. Page 14, cut number 4. Okay, so just follow the instructions. I don't know why you wouldn't just follow the instructions and do what they say. Just saying. Did I cut this wrong? Oh, no, I didn't. I'm fine. Panicked myself for a second there. But yeah, I always, you know, I know we have a joke, a running joke theme on the show where I periodically like try to do things without reading the instructions. But now you know that even when I read the instructions, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Even when I read the instructions, we're still like, still get a bread that looks like a weird croissant. My sister said I should just tell people that I do bread sculptures and that is my first attempt at a rat, which I don't think that helps. I don't think that helps. So new ideas do pop up. New ideas pop up. That's why I say with this particular album, Basics Guide, it just gets more and more valuable as we go. You're getting more and more for your money as we go. We may be on version 15, but you went from having 3 options for pages to 5, and for 3 options for elements to 4. So that increased your possible options by many. And of course, like with the box set album Remastered, don't get stuck on the idea that you have to, I'm doing the deconstructed envelope, by the way. That's what element A is. And don't get stuck on the idea that you have to use these in a giant oversized album. You know, if you want to make like a 4x6 album, something around like that'll just hold 4x6 photos, you know, just use cut number 5 and just do the same one, make 6 of them, you know? Like you can literally make 12 deconstructed envelopes, glue them back to back, and you have an envelope album. So you don't have to, you know, so you have lots of options for how you can use all the different elements in this, because you also know how to do the infinity binding, because I included the infinity binding. Well, I included the beyond infinity, but you just don't do the part where you make it bigger. You know what I mean? You just don't do that part. Okay. All right. So now I have to remove these corners. So what I do is I just cut them. Oh, actually, I just remembered. I've been cutting them the 1/8 of an inch. So I'm going to cut them an 1/8 of an inch up from the bottom. And you can mark with a pencil and cut with scissors if you're more comfortable doing that. I'm just going to cut directly with a craft knife. Although I think my craft knife blade might be getting a little more dull than I prefer. So should we all weigh in on what kind of car Gretchen should get? Because Gretchen says the reason she can't finish her album is because she's too busy buying a car. So we should help her find a car so she can get back to crafting and doing the important things in life. And the reason I cut 1/8 of an inch up from the bottom and 1/8 of an inch down from the score line is just so that those side flaps, I have plenty of wiggle room. All right, now I'm gonna be super lazy and just with a pencil draw where those 1/8 inch lines are, so I can just remove it pretty easily. Because it doesn't have to be exact. She picked a card tonight. Now she just has to find one. Ah. Are you excited about what you're getting? We've decided that our next car will probably be, assuming by the time we want to buy a car, they still make them. We're probably going to get a Toyota Highlander hybrid, the one with the 3rd row. Because we've had enough times over the last 3 years where we needed to be able to put 7 people in a vehicle and that ended up having to take 2 vehicles with 5 people, like 4 people in one vehicle and 3 people in the other vehicle, that it was like annoying. You know what I mean? Like enough times that I'm been annoyed by it. So we want to get, so that the Highlander hybrid has 2 captain, like the front seats, and then captain's chairs in the middle, and then 3 seats in the back. So very occasionally when we need to have the extra 3 people, normally we only taking 4 people pretty much anywhere we go. But and our oops, this is the wrong punch. I want to use the I want to use the 1/2 inch corner rounder. Now our Toyota is pretty old, so it actually has a really good sized back seat. So it's comfortable for 2 adults in the back seat. So it's great for 4 people. It's just not, you know, it can't really do more than 4. Like you can do 5 in a pinch, but you know, so we'll see. Now they do have some used ones around, but they don't really have, like, they're like all very new, like very, very freshly used. I don't know if they're like lease turn-ins or whatever, so I haven't really seen any. And plus car prices are completely nuts right now, like the prices of everything. So I just got an email from our landlord that due to a worldwide chlorine shortage, they might have trouble, like their pool vendors might have trouble getting chlorine. And so there might be stretches of time where you didn't get your pool service and you couldn't use your pool. And I was just like, it just never ends. There's always some weird thing that we're out of now. I'm going to drink some water. My mouth is a little dry. Now, I'm hoping this won't be an issue for us because we have a saltwater pool, but I'm not a pool scientist, so I don't know for sure. Like, I don't know if you need some chlorine in a saltwater pool. I think you don't. Like, I think they just put the salt and then the salt makes the chlorine, because like salt is made out of chlorine and some other thing. Sodium, probably. That would make sense. NaCl, yeah, sodium. Yeah. Duh. So anyway, yeah, I am good at chemistry. So I think it just goes in the water, and some of the salt makes its own chlorine, and that's how a saltwater pool works. But I don't know for sure. I don't know for sure. So I'm putting tape on the edge of the flap, and on the edge of the back of the piece. So these two pieces are going to come together and they're going to form an envelope. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to peel from the flap of one and the back of the other. Yes, please like this video and subscribe if you want to. Hit the bell icon to get notifications whenever I go live. Always appreciated. Thank you, Ella. All right, here's envelope number 1. So I'm gonna put 2 clothespins on it, and this will be for page E2. And then for this one, all right, and that's number 2. So this one I'm just going to set aside because we're going to be using it tonight, probably. I say probably. I'm pretty confident because we're going pretty quick, but you never know what can happen. You never know. All right, so that's the construction for element A. Now let's move on to element B, element beta, element bravo, element bravo, bravo bravissimo. Or in my case, brava bravissima. Okay, here we go. So, element B, I'm going to be working off of page 17, and I'm still on cut number 1, 2, 3, 4. So, each of them has this one piece of cardstock that's not scored, and then they have these, each of them has 2 pieces of cardstock that are scored the same way. And what you have to do is when you score them, okay, on one of them, when you score them, you take the score and you put it at the top for your second score. Okay. And then you put that in a pile. And then on the other one, okay, you score it. And then you score that at the, then you put that score at the bottom and you score your second score. And then you put that in a pile, okay? And that's because they have to be scored in opposite corners. So then you do your second set. Score 1 at the top. Of course, all the measurements for the scores are in the instructions. Score 2 at the bottom. Second score. And that's it. That's all the Burnish, 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 burnish. All right. And I'm going to assemble them again. I'm going to do the assembly one at a time. Ooh, what should our design be on this? Oh my gosh. Should I do hair dryers? What if I found a hair dryer? Would that be so cute? Should I do a hair dryer? Like we did the shoe on the other one. Okay. Let me explain. Okay, hold on. Let me get myself organized here. I'll need to fold along all my score lines and burnish, and then I'll talk about how I would do. I'll walk you through. We'll do a hair dryer. Ooh, Bev has an SVG of a hair dryer. I'm going to look in the collection and see if there's an element that's a hair dryer, hopefully. Oh, are you telling me you're looking at the collection and there is an SVG? I get it. Okay. All right, so what I'm going to do is first I'm going to move the window where I keep the chat monitor so that you guys don't see yourselves when I switch to my desk view. And I'm going to go get let me go get the paper. Digital paper, Echo Park, Salon, elements. Okay, so I'm going to look through the elements and see if there's like an element that's just a hairdryer by itself. There's not, but there's a scissor. So maybe I'll do the scissor, but we'll see. Well, I said it's not, but I'm not all the way down. But there's definitely, oh no, there's a hairdryer. There you are. Okay, perfect. Perfect. Okay. So let me switch to the desk view. So what I want to do is I want to make like, I'm going to measure what the size of my card is so I can make a canvas that's that size. And that way I'll know how to fit in, what size my hairdryer needs to fit in, what angle, all that good stuff. You know what I mean? So, all right. Okay. And then the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to just draw myself some lines here so I know the size that I'm working in. Like I can see it pretty easily on the canvas. Okay. All right, so then just to make my life easier, I'm just gonna merge all these shapes into one so that they're basically just a square now. So when I want to delete them, I can delete them. Okay. So then what I can do is I can bring over my SVGs or my elements and I can experiment with how they would look if I stretch them out so that they basically formed a pocket. So what I'm looking for is for one corner of it to go. I want it to touch, touch the two corners, or it doesn't exactly have to touch the corner, but it needs to touch the top or this side. It has to be somewhere in this corner, either just to here or just to here. And then it's going to be somewhere in this corner, either just to here or just to here. You know what I mean? All right, so we've got a scissor. Now with the hair dryer, I think I want to manipulate the hairdryer a little bit. I want to get rid of its cord for starters. So let's do that. So I'm just erasing its cord. That's number one. And then number two is, I think I want it to be like flipped. Yeah. And then rotate 180 degrees. Yes, there we go. Okay, so this would be like if I was holding it in my left hand. Nope, I don't want it to be flipped. So I'm gonna I'm gonna flip it again. Okay. So this would be if I was holding it in my right hand now. So the question is, can I make this look as good as the scissors? You know, and I don't really think so. Hold on. I think it's because it's it is the corner. You know what I mean? It's the corner. So like the scissors look so much better. Let's just have, should we just have dueling scissors? I think we should just have dueling scissors. Whoops. All right. Yeah, so we'll just have crossed scissors. And I think that'll be fine. I mean, because you will only see the scissory part of... Would it be better if I... Would it be better if I flipped it so one had the hook up and one had the hook down? No, I hate that. No. Nope, don't like that at all. Okay, so I think I'm going to just do the dueling scissors. Okay, all right, I'm going to go back to the desk and print this out really quickly. And then we'll put this on the page. Okay, I'm excited. Okay. Gonna print. And then we'll finish working on this pocket. Ow. Gotta get a sheet of paper out. Ow! I keep banging my hand into stuff. Alrighty, so while that's printing, I'm gonna add my mom had a CRV and no one in the family really liked how small it felt on the inside. And she ended up getting a RAV4 after a while. So I think especially if you have like a lot of tall people in your family. All right, so yeah. Everyone in my family I'm the shortest person in my family. I'm 5'8". So I think it definitely depends on how many tall people you're jamming in there, you know. All right, so yeah, the RAV4. Well, we are not. We don't want a RAV4. Like, I think the RAV4 is also. I think part of it is I think cars just are getting smaller, or have been getting smaller for a while, because you know my mom. Like I said, our Toyota hatchback Corolla basically has a ton of legroom in the back, and like my sister and Damien both have small SUVs. My sister has a Kia, and no, she has a Hyundai, and Damien had a Kia Mazda. I don't know, whatever. But like they always want to take our car if the four of us go someplace, because even though our car is like just a tiny little 4-door hatchback, it just has more room than modern cars. So, you know, our car is 13 years old, and I think cars have just been getting smaller on the inside or something. After your road trip to Vegas, you were concerned he'd snatch it out from under you? So that's why we think we've got to go up to like a truck chassis, so there's plenty of room for everyone. Not that it'll be comfortable with 7 people, but I mean, at least you don't have to take 2 cars and split up your party, you know. So all right, so now what I'm going to do, smaller cars have more legroom in the front because the bigger cars want more in the back. Ella, that's funny. Oh my gosh, my Prius, you could fit 4 people and a Christmas tree. The Prius is huge on the inside. Huge on the inside. Or at least, well, I had a 2006 Prius and it was enormous on the inside, like crazy. We were always amazed by how much we could get in the Prius. For sure. That's why we got the hatchback Corolla, because it had a similar body, you know, to the Prius. It was just cheaper. Sorry, I have to text Mr. Lifeguard something. I have to tell him something important. Okay. Well, they were talking about buying what would essentially be a second home in Florida. So the question was, are my parents moving to Florida? Kind of, maybe, who knows? So they were talking about buying a house here that would always be available for whenever they wanted to come down and visit, and like trying like longer and longer stays, kind of like being snowbirds and things like that. And and my mom even came down here and met with a realtor, and then, you know, about a month after she went back home, she called me and told me she didn't like any of the stuff we saw with the realtor or any of the neighborhoods, and she didn't want to do any of that. And the only thing she liked was when I took her to Siesta Key to show her Sarasota, and that's what she liked. So she doesn't want to live in a suburb anymore. Like, she wants to have a cool house in a cool neighborhood, and she said it could either be on the beach or like farmland, like beautiful countryside, whatever. She just doesn't want to be in like concrete jungle, suburban sprawl, whatever. And so I was like, okay, well then just like buy a condo in Siesta Key. Like, if you liked Siesta Key, you know, then buy a house in Siesta Key. Like, a lot of people would like to be able to buy a condo in Siesta Key, man. You know, like, I would love a condo in Siesta Key, personally. So it's like, just buy one then. So she's going to look at Dunedin and, you know, up a lot, you know, basically from Dunedin to Siesta Key, I think is where they're going to shift their focus. And honestly, if they want to rent it out when they're not here, it's probably better for them to get something on the beach anyways. Okay. So I've now got this prepped, and now we need to kind of carve into the shape we want. All right. So yeah, so I don't know what they're going to do, but that's what I was saying, you know, just get what you want. And like a friend of hers who used to live in Venice lives in Siesta Key now too, so it's kind of like she would automatically have someone to pal around with as well. Well, that's what I'm saying, Gretchen. Like, you moved to Florida in January, right before the explosion. You probably got the last reasonably priced house in the state. I had a deer total my 1989 Cadillac Seville that weighed almost 4,000 pounds. Deer are a friggin' menace, and if you don't live someplace where there are deer, you are so lucky you have no idea. You have no idea how lucky you are. They are a menace to society. My car was hit by a deer. I didn't even hit the deer. I was just minding my own business, and a deer ran into the side of my car and killed itself. And I told, like, the guy, when I was talking to the insurance guy, he's like, you hit a deer? And I was like, no. I said, the deer hit itself. The deer just ran out of the woods into my car and died. And the guy was like, oh, yeah. Is your car brown or black or green? And I said, well, it's mauve. I was like, but it looks mostly brown and a lot of lights. And he's like, yeah. He's like, any kind of natural colored car, deers just run right into the side of them. And I was like, well, I always just call the sheriff. So when I hit a deer, I always just call the sheriff and I say, I hit a deer. This is where it is. Have fun. So that they can go out and mercifully put it down if it wasn't killed by the car, and then they can also arrange to have it picked up. You know, I'm not going to touch it. That's a bad idea. I went to high school with someone who was degloved trying to help a deer out of the road. Don't Google that, by the way, if you don't know what it means. the pictures will be horrible. Oh, so you have your price locked in as of August, so you're all good. Yeah, the builders are even crazy right now. Like some of the builders that we saw with my mom were like, well, we're only going to release 2 lots and then we're going to auction them off. And I was like, you guys suck. Like, you just... And then like after, you know, a little while, release 2 more lots and we'll auction those off. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm taking your card so I never buy anything from you. So anyway, yeah, I want them to get a condo on the beach. And then they can like rent it out and make money. It'll probably pay for itself and then some. When they're not there, and then they can, you know, they can do the snowbird thing, spend a few months, eventually get up to half a year, whatever. So anyways, so I have no idea what they're going to do. I don't know what their plan is. You know, my dad would, if they wanted to live down here for any really significant length of time, my dad would have to quit. Well, not quit, but like finally retire from his government job. Now that contracting job he has where he teaches people how to do federal contracting, he could do that from anywhere. He just has to be near an international airport. And of course, Tampa is a major international airport, so he'll be fine. But, I mean, it's not, so he can do that from anywhere. So anyway, I have no idea what they're doing. But like the realtors were showing them stuff near our house and being like, well, you be near them. And it's like, I rent, man. Like, you might be near us, you know, for the next 2 or 3 years. But like, I'm not going to buy a house in Boyette, man. Like, ew. So... Yeah, Mr. Lifeguard works remotely for his company. His company's headquartered in Baltimore. He's been working remotely since 2017. So nothing changed for him at all, really. All his coworkers were stressed out, but he was already used to it. I don't think my dad is ready for retirement. I don't think he wants to retire. I mean, maybe he would retire from his government job, but I don't think he wants to stop like working all together. I mean, he's probably going to be one of those people that just like heals over at their desk when they're 90, you know? That's the vibe he's giving me. Meanwhile, Mr. Lifeguard and I just have got, like, finished getting all our ducks in a row to be totally, totally done by the time he's 70 and I'm 60. That's our goal. To be totally done. No more. Just chilling. Now, maybe if they could travel, you know, if things were more normal, he'd be more interested in, you know, like going overseas and stuff. Like, maybe that would make a difference, but I don't know. He just likes working and he just likes making money, you know. He's worked a long time to become one of the like top experts in the world at what he does. So which is teaching people how to understand the Federal Acquisition Code. Federal Acquisition and Res, FARR and something. Anyway, it's basically the laws around government contracting that the United States has written over the course of the country's history. And it's this like completely Byzantine, asinine thing that no one can understand. So, so they have to, like, there's, people have to be just to give you an idea of how bad it is. Most of the people that he gets contracted to teach how to do contracts for the federal government work for the federal government. So there are people who have to know how to submit, like, they're not even the people writing the contracts necessarily, like they're, you know what I mean? Like, so it's like even the people who work for the government, who work for the Department of Defense or whatever, the FAA or whatever, they don't even know how to do contracts. Like, it's so complicated that it's like, it's just nuts. And they break the law all the time accidentally because they don't know what they're doing. I know that comes as a surprise to everyone. But, so anyway, yeah, so that's what he does. But he also, like, they also teach people who want to work for the government how to write proposals and stuff. So they teach it from both ends, from both sides. And then there's people who want it to be like completely rewritten because it's so complicated and requires so much specialized knowledge and everything just to have a basic understanding of it. But the problem is that part of the reason it's so complicated is because it'll be like, the way it works is, I know you guys are really excited about how US law works, but the way it works is they'll have the code. So the code will be like, you can't get more than 10 bids on a paperclip. Let's just say that's what it says. It says you can't get more than 10 bids on a paperclip, okay? Well, and that's the law. It's just one sentence. You know, but then what'll be under it is 30 court cases where people sued the government or the government sued people over how many bids were put into paperclips. And so it'll be like, you can't get more than 10 bids on a paperclip, and then it'll be, unless per Joe versus the volcano, you stand on one foot and hop in 3 circles while the moon is full, and the bids come from orphans from, you know, the Iraq War or something. I mean, and then there's 10 of those, you know, after every single section of it, and it's always, and yeah, and then the people who write them, you know, are lawyers, so sometimes they, you know, they make legal sense, but it's like a person trying to read it is like, what does this even mean, you know? So anyway. Yeah, the verbiage alone is another language. Like, it's insane. Like, one of the things that he makes them do when he teaches these classes is they have to diagram sentences, and the sentences come from the actual FAR. And they have to do it so they understand like who's the subject. In other words, who's the law talking about here, you know, and then, you know, what's the verb, like what's the actual thing. And it's so confusing that sometimes he emails me and he's like, just want you to double check that this, you think this is the subject and this is the verb, because sometimes he's not even sure, and he's been doing it for like 40 years. So, you know, it's just whatever. I don't know. I don't know what the solution is, but what this is not working. Okay. All right. So, oh no, I needed to print 4 of these. You know what? It's cool. It's cool. We're just going to say we're doing something else on the other one. And we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. So I'm just going to take this and fold it up. And put it in the clothespins. And then actually I'm going to do a recording break here because what we're technically, excuse me, I have a hiccups. What we're technically getting into at this point is kind of decorating-ish, and it's going to slow us down, and I'm already an hour and 15 minutes in. So let me do a break. In the next part, I'm going to show you how to incorporate these scissors into the design, into the page, okay? So, all right, let me do a recording break. So if you're watching in the on a recording, either in the Album Basics Guide folder or in the Classroom Membership Archives, then just go to the next video and you'll see me finish these pockets. And if you're watching live, just hang tight. Literally nothing's going to change for you, so just chill and I'll be right back. Greetings, Glitter Gang. Happy Thursday. It's 10 o'clock on Thursday, June 10th. And we are working on element B on page E1. And then we've already done element A for E2 and B2, and element B for E2 as well. So here we have A, which is the pocket already done. So that's the first element for page E1, and now we're working on these scissors. And the reason that we're kind of stopped here is because these are going to become, the scissors are going to become like a little bit of a decoration. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a pencil and I'm just going to trace the edge of the scissor. Okay. And unfortunately, it's kind of hard for all of you to see this edge because this color is literally called graphite, so it's graphite on graphite. But I'm going to draw 1/8 of an inch border, or cut rather, 1/8 of an inch border. Okay. And then I should be able to just float that right in there and have a little cute little scissor. Okay, so we're partially there, but I don't want the scissors to just be like chilling. I want to put them on the scissors actually. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to line this up like 1/8 of an inch in from the top and the bottom. Kind of get it where I want it on the front. And then pinch them together. And then I'm going to trace the edge. Okay. And then with this one, I need to come in about 1/8 of an inch, all right? So with this one, I'm going to come in about 1/8 of an inch. Okay. All right. And then I should now have a really cool scissor pocket. Which I do. Ta-da! Okay, so what we're gonna do now, all right, I'm gonna ink this. Thank you. Now I'm going to glue, or not glue because I have, I'm going to glue this to my pocket, and then I'm going to stick the scissor on top. And the scissor is already a sticker because I put tape on the back of the scissors before I stuck them down. So they're already a scissor, so we just need to all right, just gonna press it into place. Okie dokie. And then I'm gonna peel the tape from the back of this and stick it down. And then that'll be one scissor pocket. All right, and so this is going to tuck around this, okay? So just imagine this one on the other side, same thing, and you'll get an idea. All right, now I can make things a little easier on myself here because the second one's a mirror image of the first one, right? So I can just hi kitty. Just trace the first one, and I traced it onto the back because they need to be mirror images of each other. Okay, so because they are mirror images of each other, I can just put this like right here, see? Nice. Okay, so now I just need to get the scissor paper again. And we'll just put, same thing as before. You know, we'll just line up the corners, pinch it, place it down. Trace. And then when I cut in, again, I'm going to cut in 1/8 of an inch so that, you know, I have a little bit of a border. And I don't worry, it doesn't have to be exact. You know, we're going to ink it, whatever. Ooh, hello. How are you, ma'am? You ready for some snugglies? You ready for some snugglies? You want some scritchies? You want some scritchies? Okay. All right, so now I'll just glue this here. All right. Oh my gosh, these scissor pockets are so elegant with the gold scissors. This is a fancy Salon. Well, Kitty's just doing a drive-by, I guess. Just doing a drive-by, Kitty. Kitty drive-by. All right. Do you like my scissor pocket?
Very stylish.
Thank you. Kitty's trying to bite you. Trying to eat Mr. Lifeguard? You gonna follow him? You gonna stay up here? You don't know what to do. She doesn't know what to do. This is a very upscale shop. It is. It is. It's a very high-end salon. It is almost 10:30. That's true. That's her time. She thinks the show needs to end about a half an hour before the show actually ends. Do you think if we moved it to 8:30 that she would just come up at 10? Yeah. She needs her scritches. She does. Ooh. Love it. I like these more than the shoes, maybe. Right over left or left over right? I think it looks better left over right. What do you guys think? All right, let me get some more water. Ugh. Yeah, I don't know why, but left over right does look better to me too. I agree. I'm glad we're all in agreement. So if we want to do left over right, we put right down first. All right. Okay, so then we've got right down, and so now what we do is we take left and we tuck it over, and that's it. It's no big deal. So what I like to do for the second one is I just kind of cup it like this. So I've got my thumb on the front, and then I've got my 3 fingers just kind of making a little cradle on the back. And that gives me, I can just slide it into that cradle. And then I can just pinch it closed. And then burnish it. All right. Look at how adorable the scissor pocket is. I would wear a dress that had embroidery like that on it, to be honest. Like something kind of funky like that. That's, I mean, that would be a nice neckline. All right. Okay. That was a lot of work for a pocket. Okay, so I just need to put tape on the back of A and B. I forgot to put tape on the back of A. So we're going to do tape on the back of A. Wondermus. And then all we need to do is we'll do the construction of element C, and then we'll have finished the construction for the pages for this volume. How fancy is that? Pat, could you trace a pair of scissors on a, like some gold glitter paper? Do you have like a hair cutting scissors in your house you could just trace and get a similar vibe? Did I put these? Oh, right. I'm not putting them together yet because we don't know what's going on the pockets for the next page, because that's going to be part of the decorating. Okay. All right. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to set these to the side, and we'll do element C. And so that is, we're going to be moving to page 20. Page 20. All right, so page 20, 1, 2, 3, 4, down. Well, that is very nice of you to offer, Barbara Jean. I don't think I have anything nice enough to embroider it onto. But I appreciate you very much. Okay, so I'm going to do... So I'm just going to start cutting or scoring all my little pieces. This is C. This is page 20. I'm on version 15 of the Album Basics Guide. I don't know what you would embroider it on. I guess just a black shirt. Okay, so this is one stack. I'm going to put these all together. And then this is the other. And again, all the measurements for what to cut, what pieces to cut, and how to score them, and all of that, that's all in the Album Basics Guide. And there's a link in the video description if you're watching live to the Album Basics Guide if you want to purchase it. And if you are not watching live, you're watching in the archives, you can get a copy at kathrynscraps.com/shop in the manuals section. All right, ready to assemble. So this is Element Style C, which is the belted folder. Going to do them one at a time. So this is the base. This small piece is the flap that holds it shut, which I'm not sure if it's long enough, but we'll see. Oh yeah, it is. Just barely long enough, but you know what? Well, whatever. I'm not going to worry about it right now. I can always extend it if for some reason I don't like how long it is later. Donna, I'm sorry to hear that. You missed how the scissors got made, or you missed the scissor reveal? Okay, so you've got a piece that looks like this with a big piece with one flap, a small piece with one flap, and a big piece with 3 flaps. On the big piece with 3 flaps, okay, you go tape on the front on the 3 flaps. On the small piece, it's tape on the back, and on this one, it's tape on the back. So I don't know why I said small so loud. That felt very loud to me. Well, I'm glad you at least got to see them. And of course, how they got made is in the videos with the Album Basics Guide and in the archives, so you can review. Oh yeah, a nice t-shirt. That's a good idea too. Yeah, nice black V-neck. Good quality. All right, my goodness. Now, we still have some time because we still have to make the second half of volume 2. We have to make all of volume 3, and we have to make the storage box. But I'm starting to think about what's going to be the next project. And do we want to remaster something else, or do we want to make something new? And if so, like should we make something small? One thing I thought about was trying to remaster the Something to Brag About album, because the Something to Brag About album is so quick and so small. But I think it's not all that small, I guess, because you can like make it gigantic. But it's quick, it goes together really quickly. But then I thought if I remastered it, I would just make it like so wild and crazy it wouldn't be quick to assemble anymore, which would be okay. All right, so you take the small 1 flap piece and you attach it to the piece that doesn't have any scores. Then you take this big honkin' guy, cut the corners, all right, and then remove the tape from just the bottom flap, and you're going to stick it here on the front of the piece you just stuck down. And the reason you remove the tape from just the bottom is because that way you can hold the sides. You don't have to worry about lining up all 3 sides perfectly, like the 2 short sides. Oh my gosh, these hiccups are driving me crazy. The two short sides won't stick down before you're ready. Get perfectly lined up, press it down, burnish it, and then you can peel the tape off the sides. Okay. Then ta-da! So there's the pocket. This is a belted folder. So that's the folder. And now we just need to, you know, put this piece on. And what we do is we just put it on 2.5 inches in from the edge. Do 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 do. And so I just peel it and hook it on. So you can just kind of hook it and then slide it over. And then burnish, okay? And then that's the folder. So I'm going to take this one and I'm going to add it to my stack for the second page. So now with that, the construction for the back half of the album is complete. So I have all the parts and pieces for the back half of the album, because I have one of these for each of the 3 pages in the back half of the album. So we are killing it, rocking it, crushing it. All of those superlatives. Smashing it. Why are they all so violent? Probably because if we said we were gently caressing it, then we would sound like creeps. So maybe that's why it's so violent. You're going to curse yourself. Oh no! I pat myself on the back too hard. Too hard too soon. Hi, kitty. So, yeah. Ooh, so fun. Has it just been me, or has volume 2 gone like so smoothly compared to the other volumes? Yes, that is true, Janet. Janet says when you put down the bottom of your pocket, you can put tape over the joint so that things slide in and out of the pocket easier. Yes, absolutely. That is absolutely a trick that works really nicely. If you're not going to line your pocket, which this pocket is not lined, it works great. It does seem to be going faster, right? It does. I mean, we've only done 2 pages, so maybe it hasn't been going faster, actually. But it feels like it has. It feels like it has. We've learned so much from Volume 1. We've paid our dues. Volume 1 was boot camp. Now we're all elite ninja soldiers. We're the best of the best of the best with honors. Oh my gosh, it smells like bread in my office. Oh, please be bread. Please be bread. It's now reached the second floor of the house. Yeah, we added a bunch of pages all at once, and then we haven't had to do a bunch of changes since. So, because we added a ton of pages to the manual at the beginning of volume 2, but then we haven't had to make changes since that. Knock on wood. I don't have any wood. I only have IKEA. So I can't actually knock on wood. So when I put this down, I'm going to show you what Janet is talking about when she's talking about that tape in her comment in the chat. So what she is saying is, oh, I just threw my pick away and kept my tapes. I threw my pick away and kept my tape in my hand. Oh, well, obviously it's past someone's bedtime. Okay, so what she means is when you pull it open and you burnish it, you can take your scrapbooking tape and my scrapbooking tape just ran out, but it's enough tape for you to get the idea, and then you put it over the joint between, you know, the lip. You put it over the lip of this cardstock, so when you slide your tags or whatever in, they don't get caught, hung up on that lip. They just slide past it because the tape, it smooths the way. And anytime you have a pocket where you put just one side down first, you can do that. You can do that. Oh my gosh, the bread smell is like intense now. I can't concentrate. It smells too much like bread. If I go downstairs and it doesn't look like bread though, I'm going to be real mad. Okay. All right. So then that's constructed. So I need to put tape on the back. And then I'm also going to do my magnets. And then this one will be like constructed. Okay. So now that's down. Oh yeah, I should text Mr. Lifeguard and be like, does it look like bread? Okay. All right, so the way I'm going to do my magnet this time is I'm going to put my magnets like right here so that it's not going through the pocket. So I'm going to put my magnet on the back of the flap, the center of the back of the flap, and then this back page. Okay, so where is my magnets? Okay. Where is my magnets? English. Kind of speak it. Kind of sometimes. Okay. that there. And then I'm gonna put a little piece of tape. Oops. Went a little too far. Just stamp, you know, Stamperia or Stampira or whatever that really fancy paper company is. Do they make digital paper? Does anyone know? I kind of want to use something like really dramatic, you know, for my next project. They don't. Darn it. I didn't think they did. Maybe I'll try and find another cool person on Etsy then, like I did for the book journal. And maybe there's like somebody who's doing something kind of similar over on Etsy. All right, so I've now got these 3 . I think we want to have, I think like that is probably how we'll end up doing it. I think I definitely want the, you've looked before and you can't find any. Yeah, I looked, but I didn't know if I didn't know where to look. You know what I mean? But I didn't see any when I looked. But like I said, maybe I'll look on Etsy and try and find someone like dramatic with Stamperia vibes, but like digital, so that anyone can get it wherever they are in the world. There. That's how it's going to be. So that'll be really cool. Okay. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to, I will look for that. Something like that is what I'm thinking of. Like something like, yeah, I want something like really intricate, dramatic, you know. That's kind of what I'm thinking. Because I've been doing, you know, we've been using more, not that there's anything wrong with cleaner designs, because I like them just fine. But sometimes I want to go all out. I don't know. All right. So I'm going to put this in here so we're ready to go for next week. Now, this is where I'm going to end the, to have the scissors cross on the front one. Which one do you mean? I don't know where you mean like the scissors. Do you mean like having the scissors on this pocket, or do you mean like adding scissors to this pocket? Because they do cross on this Minte paper. I don't think I know exactly where you mean, but I'm being, my brain is being poisoned by bread fumes right now, so I am not at full mental capacity for sure. All right, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm just done crafting for the night. So we've accomplished what I wanted to accomplish. There's less than 10 minutes left, so there's not time to really start something else. Make it show on the front panel, but it does show on the front panel. Do you mean you want like this scissor to cover this, but this is a pocket. So if this scissor covers it, then like it would be like gluing it shut. I mean, you can do that if you want to, but you know, you are changing the functionality of what you're doing. So, which doesn't necessarily matter if you're just going to use it as one big pocket, but if you like to tuck stuff here, there, and everywhere, you're going to lose some tuck space. But yeah, what she's saying is to have this scissor on top so it glues the two halves together so that you can see both scissors, which you could totally do that. You could totally do that. Yes, you absolutely could. And it would still be a pocket. You just wouldn't have the crisscross in the front. Okay. All right, so that's it for tonight as far as crafting. I'm going to go check the bread and let you know. Let me take my phone so I can take a picture of it. So I'm going to let this recording go in case anyone who's watching on the recording is really invested in the bread situation. And you will be able to hear me as I go downstairs because the microphone goes with me. So let's see if there's bread. Okay. Oh, it says it's baking. So it's not done. I'm going to look through its little window. It's definitely not bread. So let me see if I can get a picture of it through this window. It's hard because it's like steamy. A little steamy. Okay. So we have failed to bread. So, again, we have once again failed to bread. Oh dear. Oh dear, dear, dear. Okay, so it's going to be kind of hard to see because I had to take a picture through the little like slot and it's very steamy because it's baking. But I don't know if you can see, but like look how kind of crumbly it is. Like I can literally see one of the paddles through like bread crumbles. So I definitely think the recipe, maybe I'm going to look online for a bread machine recipe and not use the recipe that came with the bread machine. Yeah, maybe the proportions are not correct. Oh, so Geneva's saying not to have the scissor go all the way across, but to just print a third scissor so that you could use just a piece of the third scissor so that the scissors would appear to be whole. Which that would work better because then you wouldn't be losing your crisscross. So what she's saying is when you print your scissors, you can print either a third scissor or, you know, just like half of a scissor, and then you would glue it just from here to here so that you could like see this whole scissor if you wanted to. Definitely. Okay. All right, then you still get the slit and you still have the full function. Well, it's actually messed up in a different way. Like it's hard to see on the picture because the picture is terrible, but this bread is messed up in a completely different way. So what I'm going to do is I'll take a picture of it when it comes out. And then I'll update you next week on if I ever managed to bread. And I mean, yeah, it's like a backstage tour. So apparently, or maybe I'm just, I mean, there's so many things that could be going on. It could be the humidity. It could be the flour. You know, I'm literally weighing everything in grams, so I'm not messing up the proportions unless the recipe is just not great. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go find a bread recipe, a bread machine recipe online, like one that has like 1,000 reviews, and I'm going to try that. And then depending on how that goes, I might just be like, you know what, bread machines and I are not to be, and I'm just going to do that overnight no knead bread. So anyways, thanks so much for watching, everyone. Thank you for joining me. Have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. Stay safe, stay hydrated. Well, and I used rapid rise yeast this time. So, you know, I don't know. Anyway, you'll see it, but it does not look like a loaf of anything, okay? So anyways, have a wonderful weekend. Stay safe, stay hydrated. Be careful out there, everyone. And I will see you next week for the decorating of page 3 of volume 2 of the box set remastered album. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye now.